Yeah, you know what? I'm into this because this would allow us to be devilishly confusing. Anything weird that's going on, if it is dynamic, hide, you all must be hidden, and make them even more irregular. It is totally made up. Okay, so if you're watching this on YouTube, hi everyone. If you're watching this on YouTube, welcome. We're in the middle of doing a lot of diachronic morphology. So we're going to jump right in. If you haven't seen any of this, if this is totally new to you, go watch the playlist. It's a whole playlist now. We've got almost a dozen episodes in it. So we've been hard at work. So check it out. And without further ado, let's go back in. So back to this. Yeah, you know what, Raven, I'm into this. I'm into this vowel coalescence. You've convinced me. I think we're going to do this because this would allow us to be, allow us to have even more forms for these irregular verbs, and make them even more irregular and more devilishly confusing. Okay, but what we need to do, I think now, is think about. Well, I had in mind that we might be able to look at one of the other languages that we've been developing. Let's go over to the Comparative Lexicon and let's look at some of these. And maybe I can zoom in even more just to emphasize things. So we have, this whole zooming thing was probably a bad idea. Yeah, that was a bad idea. We need a bit more space. So we have these I'm really fascinated by language 3B, where we have this, like a word like facole in the proto-language, which goes to faculi in Eustamia, but it goes to hauroil in language 3B, which doesn't have a name yet. So I kind of want to play with this language a bit, and I want to make it super SVO. So let's take a single sentence, and let's make this happen. So what would it look like? Let's take something from our Prototext. Eventually, I'm going to have to write another text in one of these languages, but again, today is not that day. So what is a good sentence? This one. So we have, because the swan's feathers were white like the sun, the black like coal raven gave it the evil eye. Let's do this. So I need, I think, another window. Let's see if we can get everything up on the screen, and let's get rid of the notes. Let's hide these, and let's hide lang 2 and 3a. Hide. You all must be hidden. And maybe let's just see if we can ever so slightly. Yeah, there we go. Okay. I don't know. There's never enough real estate. I know. That's a common complaint, but all right. So everything is here. Everything is set up. Yeah, I think it's probably the front rounded vowels that are giving that vibe. I get an old French vibe from it personally. Hauroil. Yostaimi. It's, you know what you know what's giving me the old French vibe? And I might have done this semi-intentionally at the time, or maybe it was something else. It's been a while. The palatalized, when a consonant is palatalized, that palatal shows up before the consonant, which happens in the history of French. So it looks like, and I'll have to find, where did we put the rules? Because we're going to have to put them into Lexergy, or I'll do that off screen, because sometimes that takes some debugging, and debugging is not what you're here to see. but we can start to see, did I put it in here? Yes, I did. Okay. So language 3B, here are your rules. So let's just, let's make a new sheet, call it, you can't see me calling it this, but it's not that thrilling. Just calling it language 3B. Let's put this here, our sound changes. Yeah. And let's take this sentence and let's get to work on it. Don't ask me why it randomly created borders. No. Okay. So we have Payawicha Nafia Masafa Ufo. So what I want to do is to break us of this SOV structure in this language. So my thought behind language 3B, this is something that, staying up late at night, you start to think about these things. And I'm thinking that there was a contact situation, like a language contact situation going on with the speakers of this Qalic language, if we can call them that. And this contact situation was with speakers of a language which was SVO, and probably heavily isolating. And as a spoiler, or a teaser rather, I think we're gonna play a little with this language, this unrelated language that's affecting 3B next stream, which will be Thursday. Which will be on Thursday. So we'll play around with this this SVO isolating language. So anything weird that's going on with 3B, with language 3B, we can just say, hey, yeah, contact. This will be our excuse or our reason for everything. So so let's rework this grammar. And what we want to do is, instead of having this conditional one form of a verb, we want to have just a word that means because. So in Eustamia, we used the root afi, which we've been working with a lot. Let's see, where did that go? This guy, afi, which means to be thus. So if you have afi tohwe, it means because it is thus, which is kind of a good stand-in for because. So that's something we can do. We can say afi tohwe. Sorry, I said tohwe. It should be tohwe. Afi tohwe, and that just means because. And then this goes away. Actually, I think we still need that yeah. And let's update our gloss, because the swan's feather literally did white like the sun. We can then take this do and turn it into a kind of an adjective marker. Masalaya. This reminds me of Russian, actually. And we can then put in we can then put in some sort of a copula, which we don't have yet. So now we have because the swan's feathers. Oops, I think we need the copula to go before masva ufo. Yeah, that's right. And then we're not likely, if we have a heavy influence from SVO languages, we're probably not likely to have postpositions anymore. So we'll need something that means like. And we'll get rid of this UFO. And we'll take this and put it over here. White, like the sun. So this is what we're going to be working with for this clause anyway. So we're going to need a protoform that's going to give us a copula, and we're going to need a protoform that's going to give us like. Okay, so what do we have in the way of phonology in Proto-Qal? Do we have? I don't think I've ever actually defined the phonology. Nevertheless, we can look to our... No, actually, I can't even look to the Lexergy because I've mixed things in. I've been bad. Let's look at our comparative lexicon. Do we have a verb that's like stand? No. Well, let's take a verb stand. We have a bunch of things we haven't used anywhere, like, let's see, something relatively short. Amaka, quote, sawachwama, that's too long. Walanika, no, we need something short. We need something 2 syllables, and we need it to mean stand. Why don't we do this? Let's look at Eustamia. Here's our phonology. Chat, help me out. Can you give me a Eustamia word meaning stand that we will then derive backwards into the proto-language and then derive forwards into language 3B as the copula? How does that sound? I think everything you need to know to generate a root will be here. In this little square of excellence. Wakma. Okay, love it. Let's do it. Wakma. So if we have Wakma in Eustamia, what's that going to have to be in the proto-language? It's going to be Wakuma. So that would look like Maku. Okay, we're going to use that for the next thing because we need more than one thing. So Wakuma wa. Oh, it's just at the bottom there. Wakwama. And is this going to be a dynamic or a static verb? I think it has to be dynamic just to get all of the, just so that we can have all the fun that we need. So then if it is dynamic, then only one of these things could be So in its A stem, it would be wakwama. In its B stem, it would be wukwama, and then something like ta. And in its C stem, it would be, depending on what the suffix is, it would be something like wukwama. Okay, so let's see what this gives us. Is it even going to work? Okay, this is fun. So we actually don't get that. We get walgim. I think we'd only get this if we had something like wagima. Well, I'll have to return to this because I'll have to return to this. We'll return to the Eustamia form. I like this protoform though, wakwama. So then let's take a look at Let's take a look at our language 3B. Let's run these forms. I don't know, let's just say it's wakwama. We'll sort out the details later. Yeah, believe me, I very much empathize when you say it is confusing. It is confusing. It's confusing me. So we're going to have to simplify it, but I won't subject you to that process because it involves me doing a lot of this and a lot of this and a lot of this, this kind of thing, and it's not good watching. So I'll do that, sort of lying up in bed, staring at the ceiling, wondering what's gone wrong with this verbal system. Okay, so let's take wakwama, and let's actually take the other ones too that we've had. Maku, and so maku would be something like makwo, and moon would be something like muna, or mona, rather. Okay, so these are our inputs. Let's move this a bit down. And let's derive these. So vowels front before front vowels. We don't have any front vowels. Schwa deletion. You have no existing reference to study from. You mean no reference grammar for this language, or no real, no natural language to study from? Okay, we get intervocalic voicing, magwo. Do we want this to be intervocalic? Do we want M to count? I must feel like yes. Let's make it be or sonorants. Palatalization. We don't have anything to palatalize. We don't have anything to lenite there. We don't have any labials. Oh, we have M, but that's not targeted by this rule. We then marwo, warma. We delete final vowels. Mar, waum, warum, excuse me. And then we get mau and waum. Interesting. Well, yeah, I mean that it is totally made up. That's the challenge. We're sort of seeing it all live unfold before our eyes, and that's why everything is a bit malleable and a bit sort of, we work it out as we go. So you're sort of seeing behind the scenes. Normally you just see a finished conlang, but in this case we're building it up. We're building it up together. So yeah, thank you all for bearing with me, as it does get into the weeds a little bit sometimes, but I mean that's sort of where the fun is too. Okay, so mon, maur, and waum. Interesting. Of these three, I think waum would be very hard to say and would be subject to more phonological reduction if this were a copula. Waum, maur. Mon, on the other hand, would not. So I might go back on what I said and choose this as the copula, mon. Just because it looks a bit more like something that I'd expect to be a copula. And okay, so we have this, although mona, we haven't gone through the sound changes yet. This is a sort of weird proto form with the modern language grammar and the reconstructed languages phonology. It's a bit weird, I know. And then let's use our vowel here. Yeah, we could do it so that vowels delete only when it doesn't create an illicit cluster. In which case, maybe what we do is actually we epenthesize a vowel. So instead of waurma, we get wauram or something like that. And we'll call it a epenthesis. Maybe that'll be the unmarked vowel here. Wauram. Sorry, wauram. And wauram. So let's make this our word for like. Okay. Hydration. If you're watching this and you're not hydrated, gotta get hydrated. Okay, so then we take this like grammar, apply it to the second sentence. Like coal, so sequopata literally means fire rock, but we can gloss this as coal. And here we have this we call the attributive form. Let's not use that for this. Let's give ourselves a kind of a relative pronoun, which maybe we are going to have as maur. So in the proto-language, makwo fasana. So the like coal. No, we need to restructure the sentence entirely. Okay, no, I see what's going on. The raven makwo. Sorry. This is raven. Huasakwa. Makwo. I'm losing it. The raven. So let's say the raven relative black like coal. So that would be makwo fasana wakwama sekopata. Oh, okay. Good. And then we have to say, I deleted something that I shouldn't have deleted. I deleted that dative sonama. So this is a third person dative. And we can use this. Let's just move this up into SVO position. Quota. And I know we're not using this attributive form for, what's it called? For sort of relative clauses, relative clause-like things, but maybe this is a fixed, like a fossilized expression to give the evil eye, and so we can keep it there. Okay, so that's basically the grammar. I think probably we'll have to wrap things up shortly, but I think we've accomplished a good deal today. The reason I have to wrap things up a little early is for the sake of my voice, because I'm going to be giving a rather long presentation this evening, and I have to be able to speak for 2 hours. So I will say, I think, thank you all. I'm going to go back to the full screen. Hopefully we made some good progress today. It's nice to get back into the modern languages. The modern languages, which totally exist. They do not. But they exist in our hearts, and I think that's the important thing. So if you're watching this on YouTube, thanks again. Like, subscribe, all that good jazz. If you got any suggestions or anything, when this goes up onto YouTube, which should be in a few hours, just write them in the comments, and I'll be sure to take a look and add things in.